You are a parent of a high school sophomore or junior, and you are now concerned about the NCAA at the Division One as well as potentially Division Two levels implementing the 5 years of eligibility over a 5 year period of time. And you are thinking, how is this going to affect my student athletes' opportunities to participate as a college student athlete? I'm going to answer that here over the next few minutes. I'm going to provide you some insights. I want you to stick around until the end because I'm going to share something with you that a lot of parents are not factoring in to this decision process as it pertains to scholarships, redshirting, injuries, and so forth. You know, the last 12 months, NCAA Division II, as well as NAIA schools, have been considering the 5 years of eligibility, and they kind of kicked that can down the road to 2028, knowing that the NCAA at the higher levels was going to be working on a plan that would cover this topic. And so everyone is waiting to see what will ultimately get put into place, potentially this year of 2026 around August 1st. But how does this affect your student athlete as far as recruiting? The biggest misunderstood dynamic of this entire topic is that it only applies to potentially 5 to as much as 6% of high school athletes. Now, think about that. We have a lot of companies that are pushing the fear button so that you, as a parent, start making all of these wild, crazy decisions that may not even, be a part of your student athlete's process. But yet, everybody wants to push that narrative, all in hopes of making you, as a parent, feel overwhelmed, obviously underinformed, and you begin to make decisions in haste. And you really want to take the next several months prior to August and September, or starting of the new year. Potentially, your rising sophomore becomes the junior in high school, your junior in high school becoming a senior in high school, and you obviously begin your college selection process. First, let me just give you the positives in this. First of all, it's going to start with graduation or 19 years in X number of months yet to be determined, meaning the vast majority of high school athletes that are above average to elite are probably going to begin to reclass in some way prior to their junior year in high school. They also may seek a postgraduate year. This has been very, very commonplace, particularly in hockey. The NCAA at all levels, divisions one, two, and three, have always had older incoming freshmen. In fact, in some cases, they're 20 or 21 years old. A lot of that has to do with junior hockey. Now, if we take all other sports, and we'll just use the big three for this discussion, football and baseball, between NCAA Division One and Division Two, have approximately 5.5% each, where high school athletes are participating at the NCAA Division One and Division Two levels. 5.5. Football and baseball have larger roster constructions over and above basketball. And the total for basketball, and this is men's and women's as it pertains to basketball, is approximately 2.5%. So you can see that we're talking about relatively small numbers. So point one should be, you really need to understand what your student athlete's future potential is and begin to make decisions accordingly. Do not simply take the travel or the AAU program's opinion. Seek out, whether it's via a college camp or someone in your community that has played at a higher level, potentially a former coach at the higher levels, and get some sort of second or third opinion as to the potential. That means you as a parent are looking through a different lens than the college coaches are. And it's really important before you spend a great deal of money seeking recruiting help on this topic that you understand what your student athletes' capabilities are. For instance, I work with several families, particularly since the COVID years of 2020 and 2021. And we dealt with a really big hurdle or obstacle, which was the extra year of eligibility. And there were 2 extra years of eligibility for JUCO athletes. And so, what that does, both the extra year pertaining to COVID and now with the 5 years of eligibility, is it's going to back up if they grandfather athletes into 26 or 27 current college juniors or seniors, and you give them that extra year. Obviously, we're going to deal with a very similar situation. And so for parents, you need to truly understand how different teams and programs are constructed, different coaching staffs. Every year there's a coaching shift or change. They call it, affectionately referred to as, the coaching carousel. All of this must be put into your decision-making process. It's really important to understand the high school athlete is not being penalized. The high school athlete is being asked or told, in most cases, to be better prepared. So therefore, when I'm dealing with student athletes, I will always stress to put yourself into college mode, meaning your time management, your routines, your daily disciplines and routines, your strength and nutrition. These are things that can easily move forward with your student athlete from the high school years into the college years. Next, number 2, it is really important for parents to understand college coaches across all levels, all divisions, are making business decisions, meaning it's nothing personal. They are not making decisions to hurt a high school athlete. In fact, many college coaches love working with the high school athlete to develop culture, at a younger age, rather than taking in an older athlete that may be set in their ways. A younger athlete kind of comes in and learns from the older athletes, and they take that culture that they're learning from both their coaching staff as well as their peer teammates, and they begin to grow and develop. What I mean by that is different programs now, if you listen to the Jay Johnson interview, where they're starting to see the importance of developing from within. You must put yourself on a level playing ground with regard to looking like, having the skill set similar to, and being physical as compared to those men and women that are playing and participating currently at the college level. This is critical as a student athlete to understand that what you're trying to accomplish with recruiting, don't worry about the 5 years. Don't worry about the transfer portal. Don't worry about name, image, and likeness. Worry during your college, kind of collecting of information. During that information gathering phase, make sure your student athlete and you as parents are really spending time as well as resources in the right places, making the right choices. It is important to understand that 5th year of eligibility is now going to eliminate things like redshirt. It's going to, the waivers academically and so forth. You're going to have 5 years, which in a positive capacity, if your student athlete finds the right fit, they can work towards a graduate degree over those 5 years. In some cases, many athletes do graduate within a 3.5 year window and then having that extra year and a half to pursue their graduate degree. Okay, here, if you waited till the end, this is the biggest piece of advice that I can offer you. You really want to understand college athletics today are basically saying that you need to prove yourself at the collegiate level, regardless of level or division. You can think about JUCO, which for decades has been a feeder system, very similar to juniors in hockey. JUCO for baseball has always been kind of the go there for 2 years, and then you'll now have 3 years to play at a 4-year school, whether that's NAIA or NCAA. The biggest tip for parents is to make sure that you're understanding that 99% of every college athlete is not going to generate income that will be life altering during their college career. So, therefore, rather than chasing the sky is falling and panicking and thinking about portal and 5-year eligibility and conflict and the high school athlete getting penalized, instead, reformulate your game plan to find that fit early. Start early. Apply the filters that matter most to you as a family, meaning geographics, academic area of interest, your skill set. Get all of that plugged into a filter and find what schools fit. Don't worry about the level. Don't worry about the division. It is now a proven fact. Many athletes start in Division III, they make their way to Division I. Many athletes start at NAIA, they make their way into the NCAA, and vice versa. They start at NCAA, they end up at NAIA. College is much more than about name, image, and likeness, portal, and all of this other nonsense that a lot of parents get lost in, that minutia that really does not and will not probably affect your student athlete. The number one dynamic is to truly have a firm understanding. All student athletes have dreams. All student athletes that are playing at the high school varsity level would love and they aspire to potentially play in college. But the facts are that the vast majority of high school athletes do not participate at the varsity level within college. They may play club sports. They may play pickup games at the college to kind of keep that competitive juice flowing, but they won't play at the varsity level. And so, parents, if you know your student athlete truly has the passion, find out if they truly have the skill, and then find your fit. Do not chase, do not concern yourself with the whole 5 years. Use it as a positive. Find the fit, make the correct decision, and turn the chaos into a complete transformational process, a transitional process for your teenager to grow into their young adult years. One family that I just worked with recently, this is in 2023, that family had a student athlete that was still growing, and I understood that they were still growing, but I didn't feel that JUCO was the right process, mainly from an academic perspective. They started at an NCAA Division III school here in New England and are now playing Division I athletics. And they are having a great college experience. They were able to take their credits and transfer. And academically, both schools fit that student athlete. And at the end of the day, they're very, very happy with their decisions. The coaches that they put into their student athlete's life have become great life mentors over and above athletics. And that is what matters most. I appreciate it if you would take the time to give us a thumbs up if you like this kind of content as a member of Coach Beede. And I look forward to more topics like this in the future.